Hey guys, Victor and Rix here from Stream of Thought, wanting to let you know that we are not only on iTunes anymore.
We've expanded onto Spotify and Stitcher. You can also find us on Podbean. Please, if you listen to our podcast, leave us a rating. We would love your feedback. Also, send an email to streamofthoughtpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear anything that you have for us. Thanks for listening. What the fuck did we talk about? I have no fucking clue.
Oh, so we start things off talking about SNL.
Welcome back to another episode of Stream of Thought. Are we just gonna?
I thought we were already starting. Yeah.
Episode number 91. Yeah. And we start off by talking about
SNL,
talking a little bit about
just the sketches they do and kind of when it was that we started watching it on a regular basis.
Why is it a thing? And speaking of things, we talk about things a little bit.
What do we talk about?
Well, why things are things. Like,
what
why...
do you mean? Oh, like fads or fashion? Yeah. Like why things become a part of culture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Talk about superheroes and what it means, what it meant for Rix growing up, and how that was a void in my life, and I didn't really care about it too much.
Very isolating.
Oh, but things get really interesting when we talk about the current world population, what it was just a few years ago, the predictions for the next several years, and things that are happening right now in the world to combat pollution.
Really uplifting, if you think about it.
Yeah, super uplifting episode. And there are a few things in between that we can't recall. So with that being said, episode number 91.
Oh my God.
The countdown begins to 100.
Yeah.
Episode 91, Stream of Thought. We hope you enjoy. That was pretty funny. I didn't think I never remember when that show is new and when it's reruns.
It's all the time, man.
Whatever. I can't remember. I don't watch that a lot.
Regular
I don't
season?
watch a lot of TV very much.
No, I know.
I stopped.
You're not a fan of like major.
I like SNL.
Really?
I like. Yeah. I used to watch it a lot in high school. I used to watch a lot of SNL, and I used to watch a lot of David Letterman and Conan and Jay Leno.
Well, like, was there a particular cast that you remember, though? Like, people on SNL?
Yeah,
I feel like there's always a generation
for sure.
of SNL characters who people...
So I started watching SNL regularly when it was, Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell, when Jimmy Fallon was on the show, and what was the other guy's name? Shit. I can't... Horatio Sands, and Fred Armisen as well.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
When Tina Fey did it, and that whole cast.
Oh, wow.
And so this is like 2003. I think it was 2003 is when I started watching it on a regular basis.
You know, it's weird. I feel like there's people who have a preference as to the generation of SNL cast that they watch and that they prefer. I feel like there's always this commentary, and maybe it's just the Sunday talk shows or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's always this commentary about like SNL used to be funnier. SNL like back in the day, or when they had a better cast.
Well,
or
in like
when,
10 years,
like,
they'll be like, oh yeah, SNL was way funnier in 2018 than it is now in 2028. You know, so I think it's just, for me, it's when, like, I remember that and I like that a lot because that's when I started watching it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so that's when it was like regular for me. And I watch it regularly until probably like the end of high school. And I see it, and the only time I watch it now is when I see someone that I really like who's hosting or is the musical guest. It's nothing against like the SNL cast. I just don't really watch it a lot that much.
And I wonder if it's this thing too that people have where they have a moment of when they start watching SNL or like when they're made aware of SNL. I remember the first time that I was made aware of SNL as like a personal thing that I found amusing was when it was in 2000 and 2007, I think,
Right.
before Obama was president. John McCain elected, nominated Sarah Palin for her
Okay.
vice president.
Yeah.
And so Tina Fey took on the role of Sarah Palin.
Right.
And that was the first time that I actually was like, oh, like, this is interesting. Like, I've never actually
Yeah.
paid attention to SNL before. I wonder if there's those moments of when people are first introduced to SNL and actually like watch it, if there's like that cycle of
Apparently, I guess so there was a program in Canada called SCTV, which is like Second City TV. So it was like a precursor to SNL a little bit. Well, SNL started like in 1976.
no relation to Chicago Second City though, I'm assuming.
Well, so there's like several different second cities. Now there's only one in, I believe it's only in Chicago, Toronto, and LA. At one point, I think it used to be one in Detroit, another one somewhere else in Canada, maybe, I don't know. But there used to be other locations as well.
Okay.
So it's all one franchise.
Oh.
And again, and for SCTV, I guess it was all just like, it was like heavily improvised, like just a lot of just like just free flowing. And SNL, I guess, is like super hardcore scripted, and they're like, okay, well, what if like, can we do this? No, no improvisation, Just you stick to the script, and that's that. Like super hardcore, stick to the script.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I hear too, like when characters break and actually laugh during their sketches, those are the moments that you like look on YouTube, have the most views like of any SNL clips are the ones where the characters break character and just like start laughing because you're not supposed to do that at SNL. No. Like of all places, it's like there's this hierarchy and regiment that you have to follow. It's like you better do that or else. And I don't know, like I never realized how much of a venerated institution SNL was until God, like I was like 25 or 26, like off at grad school, and
I'm surprised it's still on the air. Like it's been going hard for 40-something years, 42 years,
like
I think.
I should have done some research, but Lauren Michaels has been the leading force.
He created the show, yeah.
He created the show and maintained it for the course of what?
It's been like 40 years now. 1976 or 77.
Okay, like over 40 years now.
And it was at the time when it started only 6 cast members.
Yeah. You look at that.
Damn.
But, I mean, you look at that too, and you wonder, you have, on one hand, like, yes, they have a reputation, which allows them to be able to do sketches like the one that you saw before we started taping, which, by the way, what did you think of that?
That was pretty funny.
Okay, it was the SNL cold open for May 5th.
May 4th.
May
5th, you're right.
Yeah, May 5th, 2018. And it was
Stormy Daniels, Donald Trump, Michael
cast of character. Ben Stiller was on there.
Stormy Daniels made a cameo.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah,
all these people. So, but you wonder, you see the ability of these particular shows to like get those individual views of like, oh, like these are the things that make them notable, right?
Yeah.
People know what you're talking about when you talk about Sarah Palin and Tina Fey. Like, I can see Russia from my house. Like, that is a quote that people attribute to Sarah Palin, but it was actually coined on SNL. Like, Tina Fey said that. Sarah Palin never did. And so you have these instances where, like, SNL is just embodied in the culture itself, but at the same time, you have this proliferation of media and entertainment and the ability to relate to the common person in a way that, like, Stranger Things or Game of Thrones or Westworld or Walking Dead. Like, all these different shows have different capabilities to be able to, like, connect with us. Like Glenn's death. Like, we'll always talk about Glenn's death, right?
Oh,
like,
right.
But it was never a prime time cable, like a thing that everyone watched. Like, everyone sat around the, like, This Is Us with the crockpot explosion. Like, you don't watch the show.
What is this?
It's a Really? Am I really gonna have
What?
to explain?
This Is Us?
This Is Us.
Crockpot explosion?
Oh my god.
What am I missing?
Oh my god.
What do you mean?
Oh my god. I feel like we need to pause
What
this
is
right
this?
now for you to just like research and look at the social impact of the drama This Is Us, which I don't know. I've never watched it, so don't ask me
Is
to
this
like
scripted
explain
television or is it
this.
a documentary or
No, it's a
I've heard
it's a primetime drama that has evolved over the course of the past, like, what, 3-4 seasons?
I've
I wanna
heard the
say.
name This Is Us, but I have no idea what it's about.
And so there's always been this evolving mystery about how one of the characters in the show had died, and it led up to this situation where it explained that it was caused by a fire from a home appliance that had
What?
caused the death of a main character.
This shit sounds whack.
Dude, like, all the shows were talking about it, and I felt so lost because I don't give a shit. Like, I could care less.
That makes two of us.
I could care less about, like dramas like that.
Yeah.
And yet, that's one of those social moments of, you say, like, crockpot fire, and people won't know what you're talking about. Like, they will be like, oh yeah, This Is Us. Like,
Okay.
fire explosion kind of thing. So, there are those moments like Glenn's death, or the Red Wedding, or...
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay, I got you.
there's, like, shit that, like, accumulates in the social knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And there are things that really stick with you. In the past, there was only a limited number of these moments that could be had because there were a limited number of stations, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's an infinite number of stations. There's an infinite number of possibilities, and there's so much great content out there that the moments of miraculousness and the moments of, like, transcendence in TV reality, like, is so commonplace that you're like, oh, I missed that. Like, how could you have missed that? Like, oh my god, like, you missed Glenn's death? Like, what the hell? Like, how do you not know what these people are talking about, right? And so you wonder if there's this burden or so on you to, like...
I still don't care about this
keep up to date.
crockpot.
Well, bro, like, you're talking to me, man.
All right, let me ask you a real quick question. Why did you text me the other day? What do you think of vinyl records? What? What does that mean?
I forgot.
What? Because I told you what I thought, and then I was like, why? And I was really interested in your answer, and you never texted me back.
No, I know. And the reason for that was I was going to, in theory, surprise you with the fact that my family has, like, 50 vinyl
Dude, I fucking
records.
knew it. I knew it. I knew you were asking me this question because you're like, I bet his dad's got, like, a bunch of records he's trying to get rid of.
And so these
Do you
are,
still have
like,
them? Or do you do some shit like throw them away?
No, they're there.
Good.
I totally forgot
Can't
them.
wait to
but they're
sift
like
through them. They're trying to get rid of them?
They're classics. They're, like, family heirlooms. Some of them may be valuable, but my family has not evaluated them at all. They're
Your
just like,
family does not care to get any money in return. They just want to get rid of them, as previously stated in episode 88 or 87 of the podcast. Awesome. I cannot wait to sift my fingers through this vinyl and see what there is.
It's like, yeah. And my mom was like, and my grandmother had these albums. You may want to go through them first, but I don't know. I'm just like, I don't care. Like, there is probably something in there that's worth something, but I just have no interest. Like, I've never had that inclination to examine.
Let me tell you something. When you find a record,
records.
the true value is knowing that you are in possession, not that you can sell it. Like, man, if you find if there's like an original Beatles album, those are worth a lot of money. It's worth even more if you just are a fan and you have the album. It's like, wow, I have an original Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album. This is amazing.
You're so fucking lame.
You're
so fucking lame.
Your
oh my
life
God.
stops
really,
for a moment.
Really.
Yeah.
With albums.
Or like, Just what's that?
Albums, just like record vinyl records.
Yeah.
Really.
Some of them are really rare, especially especially any Beatles albums. Yeah, originals.
Well, I guess like.
But again, it's not about like I'm in possession now. I'm gonna sell. It's like no, like wow, like even for me, like having a copy of an original Fleetwood Mac Rumors album, it's like it's not up there with like Beatles, but it's like this is really cool that I have an original album, not one that has been re-released that's from like 10 years ago or something like that.
I mean, that's a little bit why I was curious when, like, you're like, it's the only way to listen to music. When I said, do you listen to vinyl records?
It's the best way to listen to music.
It's the best way to listen to music.
It's the best way. Especially that moment when the needle hits the record and there's a few moments of just the crackling before the music starts. Oh, my goodness.
You know, you hear that in movies, and there's something about the authentic, like, I've heard that in person, the authentic noise. And if you haven't heard that of the needle hitting the record,
that's why
in real life,
it
is just as visceral as a movie shows.
That's why when you asked me, what do you think of vinyl records, I could have gone on this whole thing, but I was like, I just keep it simple because it's like vinyl records are great if they're originally pressed from the time that vinyl records were originally pressed. But it's like an album that came out today, but it's released on vinyl because it's cool and it's hip, but it's been digitally not remastered, but it's been produced digitally. It's like, I don't really give a shit about this.
Yeah.
It's just listening. Same thing as listening to a CD or an MP3. It's just on it's just on a vinyl. But when you listen to something from like the 60s or 70s, you know, it's way different than listening to the remastered MP3.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, when is the last time that you listened to something on vinyl?
Oh, I am uncertain. I have several records. I'm not crazy. Some people have thousands or like several hundred. All of mine fit in like a crate. I don't remember.
Are you one of those people who,
like a year ago, maybe?
If you have your own place and you are the master, master of the universe, you will have that record player in the corner of the room.
I will have
the record player with one ready to play, ready to drop.
With records. There is no
television. For when a guest walks in, you're like, please sit down.
Let me tell you exactly what my ideal living room looks like. Obviously, couches and table.
Me to the moon.
No, fuck that. I don't listen to that shit. I'm not listening to that. Yeah, fuck that.
Michael Bublé.
Yeah, I'm not into that, like, music at all.
Frank Sinatra, my friend.
But have the record player in the corner, have some, like, obviously couches and table, like old school couches and table, and then have tapestry, have posters that I had from college, but have them framed, incense, the feng shui of all of the furniture and the energy would be on point, and there would be no television. No television in my living room. Fucks everything up.
Bro, I kind of like that.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you were saying, no. TV.
As contrarian as I am, like,
I would have a bucket. I'd have a bucket if everyone's coming over. All right, you can hang out at my place. The number one rule is your cell phone needs to go in the bucket. You can have it back when you leave.
What? Oh my goodness. I have to say, bro, like, for as much as we disagree on things,
you can smoke as much weed as you want. You just the phone goes in the bucket.
Like, you can have a bladder. It's like you gotta put your stuff on here, but you got your other stuff on here,
right?
You know, like trade, like it's a welcome gift, but at the same time,
beers in the fridge,
weed
is in the stash box. I got acid. I got acid coming in tomorrow. You're welcome to come. My guy is stopping by tomorrow. You're welcome to come by then. Shrooms are welcome.
Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry, pills? No, you're not allowed. No pills here. No cocaine here. No heroin here.
No, nothing synthesized.
Psychedelics only.
Only psychedelics.
You're either on the bus or you're off.
You know what, my friend? I have to say, like, there is a simplistic beauty about like, you know, aside from all the recreational drugs, like the concept though of setting aside your like like I feel like forcing people to like give up their electronic devices is only kosher if you have the money to like compensate for like, okay, you're giving up your like for a time being we are going to compensate you in entertainment and majesty.
I feel like it's not even
drugs,
it's not
in
even
alcohol,
about no
like whatever
it's not
whatever
even
the excursion is.
it's not
like,
even about
we
like
will
it's not even about
supplement.
like if you give me your phone I will trade you
No,
with
it's
just like
no,
you need
I
to
don't mean that.
you are voluntarily going to give up your phone for the greater good of the experience, and if you don't want to, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to leave.
But I'm saying, in what instance, other than the fact that you're a millionaire with a mansion, would you be permitted to make that kind of demand upon your guests? Like you and I, like living in a place that's like
I think it would be
mediocre,
this. I think it would be like
never.
I'm not gonna. It wouldn't be forced. It would be strongly suggested and much appreciated. And
would you be willing to do that though if
absolutely.
you did not have the financial like heft behind you?
Yeah,
like,
it's nothing to do with the financial heft.
If you had your own apartment,
if this is like
your own mansion,
if this is
condo.
if this is in like just a 1-bedroom apartment, rinky-dink place in like Chicago or something like that, like I would ask that of people, and you know who
really
it's not about like, oh, I have all this money so you have to give up your phone. No, it's just like this is the vibe, this is the energy that you're walking into. If you want to be a part of this energy, you need to dump your phone. We're asking that you dump your phone. We're not making you, but if you keep your phone, I got my eye on you.
We'll be frowning.
I got my
child.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Would this be for a particular special occasion, or would this be for?
This would just be like if we're just vibing out. Day. No, this is just whatever, vibing out. Nothing special. Just a fun idea.
Oh, you're perverted.
What do you mean?
That's not okay.
What?
I feel as though if you're going to deprive people of phones, there's got to be a legitimate reason. If I was a millionaire or a billionaire and had my own apartment and condo, that I would be able to welcome people in and give them that like golden bucket to put their cell phones in.
Yeah.
I'd feel okay like making that sort of request of people, even on a casual visit. But if I am the humble vaudevillian that I am right now, and I say, like people come over, hang out with me kind of thing at my own place, I'm not like, I don't feel as though I have the authority to say, let's set our phones aside. I mean, unless that's the type
You're
of
missing
unless that's the type of personality that I exude on a regular basis. Like, unless I'm the type of person who's like, I want to be present.
You're missing
like,
the point. It has nothing to do with being a millionaire, billionaire. It's got nothing to do with having a fancy apartment or condo.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that. And I feel like if you hang out with me one day and listen to a record, you'll just get it without having needing words to explain it to you. It's got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with it.
Is it about hospitality? Is it about camaraderie?
It's not about that.
Can you define it? Can you consolidate it into a couple of words?
It's just about
convince me.
Connection without interruption.
Okay.
It's about connection without interruption.
Okay. That's fair.
No matter what walk of life someone is from, no matter what apartment they're living in, it's just about hanging out, listening to the music, and sharing some laughs.
I totally agree. And I could not agree more that I feel like our lives are enriched by communication and interaction with one another on a personal basis. However, I feel like there is this challenge when it comes to, especially in this day and age, depriving people of their technological like appendage, so to speak. And we don't necessarily have experience with that on a regular basis. Say, hosting at those highfalutin parties that we need to host other people. and set those parameters. I couldn't imagine on a practical level being able
This isn't
to,
like this wouldn't be done on
even
like a mass
suggest
scale.
it. Even suggesting it, it's like, oh hey, like we're gonna do this thing where like we all put our phones in the maybe it would be a cool like party gimmick or whatever, but I don't feel like that would fly on
This
a regular
would not.
just
This
like
isn't
casual.
for like a huge party. This is for like if you have like 10, 12 people over maximum. Like this is for a more intimate setting. If this is a party, like obviously that's not going to happen.
No, yeah, and I don't mean that, but even for the intimate gathering, I feel like it needs to be explicitly expressed that like this is going to happen. Otherwise, people show up as like, wait,
Nope.
what do you mean?
Nope.
Like,
Nope.
what the fuck?
No.
Like,
No.
really?
If I show up not expecting it, you know what? Before you're even done explaining, if I see the bucket with cell phones, before you're even done explaining what it's for, my phone is in the bucket. I'm in. I'm committing. I'm in.
Bro, you're gonna find out who the compulsive gambler in your group is very, very quickly with that.
Once you experience what I'm talking about, you will get it.
There are certain people, and I feel like that, and it's fascinating because I've never actually tried that myself, but I feel like that might be a good way to sort of expose. Not necessarily in a great way, but there will be the person, and I guarantee you this because I was this person myself, that will say, no, I need to have my phone. Like, I need to.
No, what you need to do is let go of control and just go with the flow.
What you need to do is let go of your consciousness after I punch you in the face and then walk into your party like nothing else happened.
I had this huge, I still have it. It's like huge Doors poster. It's like almost as tall as this window. And, it says on there, doing time in a universal mind. Never mind, you don't get it.
No,
Never mind.
Do you want to explain it?
Nope, I don't. Because it's something that you can't...
Nope. Just put it in the bucket.
Nope, you don't get it unless you get it.
All right.
You gotta get it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that would be really cool to look through some of those records. I can do that on... I can do that on Saturday if you want.
Oh, funny.
Funny. Yeah, no, our Friday.
Yeah, so we were going to talk about Marvel and their Avengers.
I was thinking about that today. Cool movie. I still don't get it. You were just elbowing me, hitting me on the knee, like laughing, like it was funny because I was telling my friends at work, I was with my friend, I saw the movie. It was like watching the movie with a child in the sense of like the whole time he's just like smiling, like, oh my gosh, look at this, look at that, oh my god. Like you were marveled at this thing. And I was like, yeah, it's cool. Shit's blowing up. Cool effects, some attractive women, action scenes. Yeah, it's just cool. All right, cool. Movie's done. Happy I saw it. Kind of. It was free, so whatever. And you were just like really turned on by it, which is awesome. But what were you gonna say? What? What does that mean?
I'm not gonna fault you for not having
the appreciation.
Bro, there are only a certain segment of the population that is able to say that they embrace the comic book lifestyle. Like, it's not as prevalent as we may be online. And trust me, there's plenty of people watching these sort of like online explainer videos to be like, oh my god, they're everywhere. Like, people who care about this stuff are everywhere. We are so small. Like, the people who actually care about these sort of storylines and appreciate the deep complexity of not just the movie itself, but like, I mean, there were comics before the movie. Like, this has existed, like, for me personally, from a personal, I guess, standpoint, it's how I learned how to read in the first place. Like
Okay.
comic books was how I learned how to read.
And-
And so there's that like inherent part in a lot of people. It's very formative in their early childhood experiences. And so they ingrain these memories of like, for me, I would always envision like, what would it be like to have superpowers or be a superhero? Like, it was a really cool feeling. And to read these comic books was like you could put yourself in the shoes of these people who could do great things and be like well loved and just very omnipresent, while at the same time sort of having this worldly perspective of just being at peace with the conflict, you know, like having the power to change the world and yet choosing to like act responsibly. And you'd read the comic books. For me, it was just, you know, from probably about like fourth grade or so through, gosh, even like freshman, sophomore year of high school. Like I was still into comic books, like playing D&D and stuff like that with Danny Thomas and things like that. And when you get to see these characters come to life on film, there becomes this like extra element of, well, this was your fantasy, and somebody made your fantasy become like a motion picture, like on the screen.
I can see that now.
And so there's like a beauty and appreciation for the inherent value of the comic book like storyline, and the fact that there are people who care enough to make it become a script and become a motion picture that's widely appreciated and viewed.
Yeah, I never read comics growing up. The closest I got was the Bazooka Joe comics on the gum wrappers. Do you remember that? Bazooka Joe candy with, which by the way, now they don't have the comics on there. That pisses me off. And like some of the Calvin and Hobbes books, but I never read any like superhero comics. That was never a part of my.
But like Batman, Superman, you saw the movies of.
I saw the movies
Superman,
and like the cartoons on
Superman
TV,
Returns.
but I never read any of the comics.
Yeah. So even you have like.
I remember. Do you remember there was an Iron Man cartoon? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I barely remember it. And X-Men and Batman. Mostly, I watched Batman.
I have to tell you, man, every Saturday morning I would wake up waiting to watch X-Men. Like, I love the cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, I could not wait for the next week. And I grew up, I'm like, I wish I was Cyclops. Like, my brother. Like, well, personally, I wish I was Gambit. Like, I fucking
like
love
Gambit
the
with
fucking
the cards.
cards. Like, make shit explode with your cards. Ah, my brother, Wolverine. Like, he loved Wolverine. It's very interesting. I feel like choosing your superhero, I feel like identifies the type of personality that you want to have. Because I feel like Wolverine really sums up sort of my brother's ethos, kind of attitude. Whereas for me, I felt like I could identify with Gambit, and not just his like cool card throwing ability, but also his personality and his like what I wanted to be. I saw in him what I wished I could be. And I feel like that's what superheroes give us these days. It's like, what could we be? Like, what characteristics do we see in this person that we can, like, insert ourselves into? It's like, wow, wouldn't that be cool if...
What was it? I don't know if this is from the movie or not. Wasn't Cyclops with this one girl, but then did she start dating a different superhero, different X-Men, or they broke up? And then I remember there was like tension in the movie between Cyclops and was it
Jean Grey?
Yeah,
the Phoenix. Well, yeah, and it's an ongoing
the drama.
I'm not
superhero drama.
Like the one thing that I feel like those that are not and dear God, like. I apologize to anyone who is actually a comic book listener and has to listen to me try and like mansplain comic books to Victor Marquez right now, because I'm fully inadequate to be able to do that. But basically, when it comes down to it, there are many, many different timelines and threads of comic book storylines, plots, and stuff like that. There are main consistent themes like Jean Grey and Cyclops, right? Like Scott Summers. Those two, like, together, like they've had many different lines where Jean Grey has become the Phoenix and like gone off. She's died. She's been resurrected. She's gotten back together with Scott. Like all these different things have happened, and there are so many different like storylines and plots and things like that. It's like, well, fuck, like I don't know, like I know these are characters, like I know this like Cyclops person is a person who shoots beams out of his eyes, and this Jean Grey person is somebody who's able to like move stuff with their mind, but I don't know about their relationship. Like it's always changing. Like it's not even worth like catching up on their drama or their soap opera. It's like if I were to watch Days of Our Lives of superheroes, and it's really just not necessarily worth the time and energy it takes to be able to accumulate it. Like me personally, I find it fascinating. I love like knowing about the like character lines and stuff like that of Star Wars, for example. Like I love diving deep into the history of Star Wars and things like that because there's such a complex history, and I think it really gives value to the complexity of human relationships that are put in a fictional world. Right? There's no stakes attached to a fictional world. But you can still have the same sort of weighty relationships that we have in this day and age, the same sort of weighty topics and issues, and be able to like look at it from a fantastical point of view. It's like, well, it doesn't really mean anything when the day is said and done. But at the same time, it makes you think about the different points of view and the different perspectives. It makes you look at things from different angles. Like you look at Magneto and Charles Xavier, right? You know who Magneto is, right?
Yeah, they're
Controls
brothers.
metal.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Right?
not brothers. No.
They're brothers.
Close enough. They consider themselves brothers. They're not biological brothers, but they consider themselves brothers.
Yeah, Magneto controls it with his mind, metal, and everything.
Metal. And Charles Xavier controls stuff with his
Mind.
Yes.
Okay.
And so
Did you want me to fill in the blank, or did you forget what you were gonna say and you were expecting me to say?
Bro, I was like the point of asking you was to see if you even knew the basic concept of like someone like Magneto and Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
You know, Professor X
Yeah.
and Magneto. Like you are not a comic book fan, but yet you know those characters, you know their identities, like you know that they have a connection somehow. Like they're not brothers, but they act like brothers, and you know that from sort of a periphery. But if you are somebody who appreciates comics or at least gives credence to the story that comics have to tell, you have someone like Charles Xavier who is a self-sacrificial individual who says like you have power, but you're not always meant to use it. Like you humble yourself before the world and serve the world, like be to others. And you have on the other side someone who has been like, you've been beaten down by the world. You need to reclaim your place and make sure that you survive. Like, just survive. So you have this element of like helping others, lifting others up versus just surviving. And it's like, well, both are legitimate perspectives, right? And the way that they engage each other in the comic book world is a fascinating dynamic that plays itself over and over again. You saw it most recently in Black Panther. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I saw Black Panther, yeah.
So Black Panther is like the modern version of the Magneto Charles Xavier like element where you have, do you know the basic premise of like
Black Panther?
What happened with Black Panther?
About the dad getting killed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah, it's whatever. The whole world should have watched it by now for how big they hyped it up and how big it did at the box office, so whatever.
But yeah.
And Bruce Willis is a ghost. Or Bruce Willis is dead.
You ruined the movie for me.
Bruce Willis is dead.
But you have like instances like that where there's complicated like moral dynamics within the protagonist and antagonist. And I love how comics are able to like accentuate that, bring that out, and be able to make it duel with each other. Because that, I feel like, is the core of the human experience. But again, it goes back to it has no stakes. Like you can play out the full story of what would happen if like two brothers who like loved each other but hated what they'd become like got into a battle and like had the powers of the universe at their fingertips and were able to like do whatever damage they needed to be able to achieve their ends. And like you can play out that sort of like unrealistic fantasy that I think on some level we all like. Dude, you have a younger brother. Like, you've had rivalries. Like, I'm sure you've wondered what it would have been like to do that, like, karate, like, ninja of, like, power energy of, like,
Yeah,
and, like, shoot energy into it. Like, I'm sure you've had that thought. And we've all had these imaginations of fantastical powers we could have to be able to accomplish our goals. And it challenges us to be able to engage that. It's like comic books bring that to life. And that's why I really appreciated Marvel. Man, like, it's more than that, though. It's all these different storylines that are brought together. And I'm sad that you lack that. But
it was cool, but it's
I appreciate.
not my
I do
thing.
appreciate the fact that you were willing to humor me and actually seeing it.
Yeah.
Because you know, I don't know. What did you?
I'll be honest. If I had to pay for it, I probably would have not seen it.
Okay. What did you like take anything away from it, or was it like just a movie to see?
Yeah, no, dude. I did take away one thing from it. And I mentioned this before, but I'm just like, I just want to say, guys, everybody, Thanos isn't wrong. He just has a different way of doing things. It's not the right way. It's not the wrong way. There's a limited number of resources. And he sacrificed his daughter. So we need to just sit down and talk about this instead of fighting. But without fighting, there wouldn't be a movie.
Bro.
I feel for Thanos. I'm a fan of Thanos.
Like, dude. I'm so glad you said that. I would never say that to myself. So, like, maybe this is something worth discussing. Is like, yeah, you know what? Like,
does he want to be the one that wields that power and makes the decision? No, but someone's got to do it, and it may as well be him. And I learned that he's not after the power. It's just it's one of those classic situations where you have to believe in yourself even if no one else does. Like, if you think you're right and no one else does, like, you have to go with your gut. And yeah, it's sad. Like, you got to rid half of the universe of the population in order to preserve its resources. And no one wants to do that. But, you know, someone's got to do it. And he's like, I don't want to, but I will.
It's more than that.
What?
I think you touched on it. You just like you drove by it.
Okay.
You like screamed.
Just like I drove by Highland when we were driving by here.
So let me ask you, what is the difference between Hitler and Thanos?
Oh fuck. Now I really look like an asshole. Shit. Hitler was prejudiced towards anyone that was not of German descent and pure Aryan, whereas Thanos went with the 50%. It's just like at random. Is that right? That's what it seemed to be when people were disintegrating. Spoiler alert! Don't care. Yes.
Part of it. I think that gets at the part. So you have people who are interested in power for power's sake, right? What did Hitler want?
Power.
He wanted to conquer the world. He wanted to be the ruler of humankind.
Yeah.
What did Thanos want? When asked what he would do after he accomplished his goal.
Didn't he say, was it what he did at the end of the movie where he's just like sitting down and just at peace and just at his home planet, or he just wanted to relax and be left alone, I think, right?
When asked what he'll do if he accomplishes his goal, he said, I'll rest.
Right.
That's the difference.
You're right.
Why are you searching for that power? Are you searching for power to gain more power? Like, is your goal to become supreme ruler of the world? Because I feel like that is the ultimate, like, vice of any leader in the world that we have. It's like, well,
there's no end.
Do you want to become the ruler of all humankind? And I feel like that's the thing that people strive for. Like, hell, even Barack Obama, like, in theory, yeah, he was the ruler of all humankind for 8 years, right? Like, people strive for that. People want to be the ruler of humankind. Power for power's sake. Whereas someone like Thanos flips that on its head. Power for the sake of humankind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you do when you achieve what it is that you want? Like, do you keep going? Do you maintain that? Like, do you hold the status quo?
Interesting.
Or is it done? And can you rest? Like, is there an end goal? Or is it just more power until you die?
Right.
And then you just, like, you're remembered like Alexander the Great, like,
yeah,
for centuries later. Like, is that the fundamental, like, human goal? Is to be Alexander the Great, like, in the history books. And even so, like, Alexander the Great, honestly, in, like, 3,000 years, like, will there be a humankind to, like, remember Alexander the Great? Maybe not. But that was his ultimate goal, and that's been the ultimate goal of most humans for, all of it. And so you see something like this where it's like, you know what? Like, what happens when somebody who is powerful, who can gather all the power that they ever wish to amass and accomplish what they do, like, once you accomplish your task, what will you do? Like, will you rest? Will you allow it to be? And I feel like that, like, when you said that you, like, kind of agreed with Thanos, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, totally.
Yeah.
Like, from an objective perspective, if I was totally dispassionate and disconnected from the universe, like, in a way that I would like to think that I objectively am, like, to be able to assess things on their face value and not on the emotional level. And be like, you know what? Yes. Like, we are doomed to, like, be extinct in a couple hundred years. Like, we're not meant to be around.
A couple hundred years? 200 years?
At the least. I would give us another, like, couple thousand, like, at the most.
Okay.
So, a range. But regardless, the end of humanity is in sight. Like, I believe that we are, like, destined to, like, die out or whatever. But we still play this sort of game of power and stuff like that. And there's not a lot of self-sacrifice and say, like, how many politicians do you see today? Like, yeah, you know what? I am going against the common thread. It's like, you know what? Fuck y'all. Like, this is the way that the world is, and we have to make hard decisions, and I don't really care how it will be framed or what people will nickname me or things like that, but what needs to be done needs to be done, regardless of public opinion. You know, regardless of what the media narrative or things like that are. So, I don't know. I feel like there is this tension between, you know, we, on a certain level, in order to gain any level of power or legitimacy in a society today, you gotta, like, go along with the game. You gotta say the right things in order to stay in power.
It is interesting. What if, that would be crazy, what if, because what we're talking about with the Thanos, like, that's just a movie. But think in the real world, if there was, like, a situation where, guys, there's an opportunity for half the global population to be wiped out, like, if you just, whatever, I don't know how. And your body would just disappear, so it's not like there's going to be this dead corpse lying there. Like, in some ideal, weird situation. And it's like, man, are you okay dying? And if you're left alive, are you okay having members of your family just gone? What would the world look like? What would traffic look like? How would businesses be run if half of people are just gone? Wow. That would be crazy.
That is kind of...
That would be super weird.
mind-blowing.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. We're at 7 billion people now. The global population, is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What was it 20 years ago? 6 billion? When we were kids growing up, it was like 6 billion, I think.
Yeah.
China's got 1 billion people. 1 billion people in a time span of 20, 25 years? What?
Yeah. Well, and dude, like, not to get depressing at all, but, like, that is the existential crisis that we face. Like, that.
What's it going to look like in another 20 years?
Yeah,
Elysium.
bro.
It'll be like Elysium. You ever watch the movie Elysium?
I have, yeah.
That's a cool
good
movie, right?
I like that movie.
Where the rich people are living in space, and all the poor people are on Earth. No fucking way. No way. Guess what the population is
I can't.
as of this month?
I can't.
The current world population is 7.6 billion. According to
Wow.
according to worldometers.info.
We are so fucked.
What is
We
the world's
are so
population
fucked.
in? No fucking way. Watch this. Okay. So in demographics, so as of December, so what I just read to you was the most updated thing. So 6 months prior, December 2017, same number, 7.6. Okay, whatever. That's 6 months. That's fine. The United Nations estimates it will further increase from 7.6 billion to 11.8 billion by the year 2100. How many people can the world sustain? So 10 billion is the uppermost population limit where food is concerned, because it's extremely unlikely that everyone will agree to stop eating meat. Wilson, I don't know who Wilson is, some scientist or some person to this website, I'm just reading this on the Google quick links, thinks the maximum carrying capacity of Earth based on food will most likely fall short of 10 billion in reality. Whoa. Okay. 2050. What, you know what the estimates for 2050 are? No fucking way. So this that I'm reading right now is from July of 2015. So a few years ago. So a few years ago, July 2015, the world population is projected to reach 9.7 billion by the year 2050. The current world population, so 3 years ago, so right now it's 7.6 billion, right? 7.6 billion. When this was released 3 years ago, the population was 7.3. So 300 million people in 3 years. So 100 million people per year. In 3 years. Rix, you look so fucking... You look a little bit pissed, a little bit exhausted, a sprinkle of being overwhelmed, but most of the facial expression is just like, what the fuck? And check this out. So 9.7.
This is so depressing. You have no idea how depressing this is.
Yeah. What did I say before? 11.2. Okay, so the numbers it looks like here are slightly different from the previous one for the projections of 2100, but still it's a crap ton. But I would love to see if I can find a graph. What is the most populated country in the world? China, 1.4 billion, followed by India, 1.3 billion.
I think India has surpassed.
That was from 4 years ago.
Yeah, no, India has surpassed. India is now number one.
My goodness, this is depressing, yeah.
And you said our planet can sustain 10 billion people.
Theoretically, but they
we can sustain 10
anticipate
billion
in reality less than 10 billion people.
And we're at
We're currently at 7.6.
So we've got another 2 billion or so to go before we exhaust our renewable resources.
Yeah.
Well, good. All right. Well, good. And with technology the way that it is too, I'm sure we're going to live until we're 200 years old. So
nice. All right. So I just pulled up a graph. This will be interesting.
For fuck's sake.
This is cool. This is fun.
No.
While we're still alive.
No, it's really not. I feel like we are enjoying a luxury right now. Really just soaking in the fact that we have oxygen to breathe and, food to eat. This is a great time to be alive.
Dude, what if the world gets so messed up that in order to live on Earth, people have personal devices like oxygen tanks or oxygen bags because you have to walk outside? Or it may not necessarily be like, hey, there's no more oxygen left, but there's oxygen outside, but in order for birds and trees to keep living, we cannot take up that oxygen, so it's required by law that, you know, between these hours or anytime you leave your house or on certain days of the week when you're outside, you have to have an oxygen mask. And you have to go buy oxygen, just like how you'd have to go buy water. And then like at your house, it would be built in a certain way where like just like air conditioning, oxygen would be coming in too. You know what I'm saying? Whoa! That's a bit of a mind fuck.
You want to know where that actually is taking place right now in the world?
Where?
Most polluted city in
Beijing,
the world. Mongolia.
Really?
So in Mongolia, there is it's like the Golan Heights, I believe, and they still burn coal, just straight up. They just burn coal. That's how they light their homes. That's how they do their fires. Coal. So the pollution level is 350 times the advisable World Health Organization limit of pollutants in the air. 350 times more than what the advisable limit for living is. So, what people have done to try and combat the fact that most of these people, like, they live in yurts. They burn fires with coal.
Yeah.
And so it's literally just a
They don't have wood?
area. Coal. Like, no, they don't have. They're Golan Heights, man. It's mountains.
Okay.
It's totally they have like natural resources.
Got it.
And so, what they're doing is at grocery stores they're selling bottled oxygen that they add to their drinks, and they say this will be as much as like this bottle of oxygen will, if you like shake it up and like squirt it into your drink, will be as much as like
like liquid
a 3-hour
oxygen?
walk in the woods or something like that.
Okay.
And so the new thing in Mongolia is promoting this product that sells like liquidized oxygen that you can spray into your drink and like make it an oxidized drink, with the theory that because you can't get enough oxygen in Mongolia, if you drink this drink and get enough oxygen in your body, you can live, basically.
Wow.
And it is a scary... Like, I've seen photographs and read some of the news reports from this area. Holy cow.
No
It
way.
is a poisonous environment to live in. Like, I would never want to go visit that area.
I would.
It seems kind of cool. Like, I kind of would want to go visit.
I would if I had if I had an oxygen tank to carry around.
No, and that's the thing too, is that like you walk into that environment, you're gonna be huffing and wheezing like immediately.
No fucking way.
Yeah,